Another new feature I want to highlight that within our version 4 update for ESS Portal is around kind of what we call a browse view. And the browse view applies to like the get things page or the requests page, the knowledge page where you're browsing, as well as your business service page. And the new view that we created, we're kind of calling this a tile view. And so the tile view kind of goes like this, where you've got suggestions at the top, and I mentioned another video, kind of a suggestions engine, so this can be turned on and off. And then without the suggestions, it kind of breaks down by the high-level catalog or knowledge base that that the user can see. And then from there, you drill into different categories. It'll show basically the same level of classification on the right, so and you could flip this and put the sidebar on the left. But gives you the ability to kind of drill on the right or left same way. In the main body, it'll continue to show the subcategories until you drill deeper down, and I can always add a keyword to these to find. I can remove items this way. I can use the back button to go back that way as well. And I can also use the right navigator to kind of drill in to find my various items. And then ultimately, once I get to the items, I can pick them up and interact with them. Most of them open up in a modal, that there are some options to show them. So when you click on them, they open up into a separate page. Now, one subtle difference, let me just highlight real quickly. I'll show you in our Metro theme, kind of the request page. So see, this is organized very similar. We start from the high-level catalogs, and then when I get to catalogs, you'll see one thing here. It's a little different. You start to see images instead of kind of that icon-based display of the categories. But once you drill deeper in, it's going to ultimately show that image, and then the categories to then drill deeper into, and ultimately the items that they show. And there's really some properties there, and I'll show you that in a second where they go. The other thing I want to highlight, so let me just remove the tile view from the Metro theme just to show you. So if I go back to this, I want to show you the view, the previous version's view. This is our kind of default taxonomy view. This was what was kind of the view in version 2, was adjusted slightly with version 3. And so this one kind of organizes similarly. There's a search at the top that's kind of organized here. One change we did make with this version is once you drill into a catalog at the top level, it'll show the suggestions for that catalog, but it won't just show all the items as it was before. And that was causing some performance issues where if you had thousands of knowledge articles within a knowledge base, it would try to show all thousands of them on the page. So that's been dropped. Now it shows just suggestions for that top level. And then as you drill into a category, which you don't have the left to kind of drill in, you have the right, you'll ultimately drill into categories to find the items. And these are presented very similarly in more of this kind of tile or small card kind of view. The other view we still have in our toolkit is called an accordion view, and you'll see this. It was kind of our default view for the business service area, the service kind of information section. And this is a helpful view if you've got just a couple levels of your catalog to where you have a top level category and then you have a subcategory and then the individual services under there. One of the challenges with this view that some customers have is that if you don't have two levels, if all your services are under, say, communication services, it'll create kind of this unclassified structure to maintain this at least two levels of categorization structure. The other thing it'll do is if you have multiple levels under, say, finance as a category and there's multiple subcategories, it'll flatten that to just the top two levels of business applications, finance, and then show all the services that fall under that kind of tree or that branch. So you lose some of that depth of structure, but a helpful view in terms of being able to kind of more of table of contents, look at the different services in a organized fashion, but as long as there's kind of two levels. So where these get associated to, or in your configurations, is so if you go to the different card objects, so if I'm in card objects and then card objects type, if I go to catalog items, for example, you'll see some taxonomy view definitions under this Browse Views tab. And so the taxonomy one is the one I was showing before, is kind of the before version 4 way of organizing. This new taxonomy tile is defined here. And a couple things that these are a couple properties that are specified here that drive whether or not it's loaded or used on the page. Is first whether or not it's associated with a particular type. So that's by default we've got this tile type tied to business services, catalog items, and knowledge articles as you browse. So you can remove one of those types if you didn't want this tile view displayed on knowledge articles, for example. The other factor is associated with themes. So by dropping the now theme from this list, it reverted back to the other kind of browse view for display. But if I added now here again, it would it would adjust that and show the this new tile view instead. There's a label, which is kind of for the top. The template that's used, so this is where you can adjust the AngularJS output. So this contains basically all the HTML and code of what's presented on the page. So this is kind of how we provide a different look and feel for one browse view versus the other of these templates. The other part that works in conjunction with this is a function call of what is the actual function that's executed to go get the data that is thrown into this template. So that's kind of how that works. And then there's a new property here for override card type, which drives kind of how those individual cards are displayed in the browse view, and whether they're more of a list view or in this case this small kind of tile look. Now the other thing that we can make use of is you can set various properties in this processing script. You can see things in here like if card type is knowledge, don't show or set show catalog summary to false. If catalog item is the type and we're in the Metro theme, then show image tiles. That's where we see that difference in the presentation of Metro versus the Now theme. And the way this is in essence just setting properties, but if you were to look at take this property for example, the show image tiles, and go to the template, do a search for this, you will see there's code written in here to say if we're in a not show image tiles, then present this way. If we're in a show image tiles, then present this type of output. So in essence, you can set these properties in these object browse definition, view definition records, and interact with them. So there's a couple of properties kind of wired into this template, one for the showing image tiles and one whether or not to show that summary of the category information when you're drilled down deeper into a section. So that's kind of the extent of what I wanted to show as far as the new tile browse view as another kind of tool to the toolkit of how do we want to present and browse through the content. Thank you.